After Smash Bros. Ultimate's insane roster of nearly 90 different playable fighters, it's clear the next game in the series is gonna have to cut down the roster a whole lot. But exactly how many characters will the next game in the series have? Well, in a Famitsu column with series creator Masahiro Sakurai, he stated that if they had chosen to do a reboot instead of Smash Bros. Ultimate, the roster would have ended up being about 1/3 of the size. Smash Bros. Ultimate launched with 69 unique characters and 7 echoes. This means, if the next game in the series is a reboot, the roster will likely be about 23 characters and 2 echoes. Hello, I'm Sam, and today I'll be speculating about what such a roster would look like. Now, because this roster size is so small, I've decided to lay down some ground rules on who I will be picking. First off, only Nintendo franchises. Smash is first and foremost a Nintendo crossover game, so any third-party characters will have to be DLC. Second off, the characters have to be relevant to Nintendo nowadays. As much as I love Rob or the Ice Climbers, they are definitely not top on the list of priorities. Third, there has to be a good chunk of newcomers. Even though pretty much every character in the roster would be getting a new moveset, many people wouldn't choose to buy this game if there aren't some new faces in there. I also tried to be as unbiased as possible when making the roster, but unfortunately no one can ever be completely unbiased. So without further ado, here is my roster for the next Smash Bros. Game. Starting off with the Mario representation, I had to partially reclone Luigi to fit the limitations, but characters like Ken and Chrom show us that echoes don't have to be one-to-one with the fighter they're cloning, so Luigi can still have some unique moves based on Luigi's Mansion in order to separate him from his brother. Peach and Bowser were both obvious must-haves considering they both play a major role in Nintendo's biggest franchise, and Peach is even getting a new game soon. In terms of Mario spin-offs, there was really only room for 2 on this roster. DK is an important part of Nintendo history, so he was easy as the first pick, leaving it up to Wario and Yoshi. Even though Wario has sold less than Yoshi, I feel like Wario has a more unique identity. Wario would represent a genre not seen elsewhere on the roster, and it also has less ties to the OG Mario franchise, making it feel a lot more distinct than Yoshi. I don't think my Zelda reps are very controversial. The Triforce Gang are the most recognizable and important characters in the franchise, and with a roster this small, there's not a need for more Zelda reps. I also kept all the Zelda characters in their current designs from Smash Ultimate. I'm not opposed to them getting new designs, I just kept them this way for the sake of convenience. Although it may look like Pokemon only has 2 reps, they actually have 4. Of course we have Pikachu, the mascot, but we also have a new Pokemon trainer, this time based on Pokemon Legends Arceus. This new Pokemon trainer would use Cyndaquil, Duat, and Hisui and Decidueye as their 3 Pokemon. I feel like this would do a better job of representing Pokemon as a whole over the normal trainer. In addition to representing the type triangle, this one also represents 3 different generations of Pokemon, as well as regional forms, which have become an important part of Pokemon in recent generations. For this game's Animal Crossing rep, I chose Tom Nook. I feel like it makes the most sense that an animal should represent Animal Crossing, and Tom Nook has been one of the most prevalent characters ever since the first game in the franchise. For the Kirby series, I picked out 2 reps, those being Kirby himself and Bandana D. Bandana D was included due to how he acts as Player 2 in Forgotten Land, a role which I feel like he'll continue to fill in the future. He also represents one of the most recognizable and prevalent enemy species from Kirby. Inkling is included as our Splatoon rep, and due to the series' immense popularity, I can see them getting a second rep in the form of an Echo Fighter Octoling. Samus is back, representing Metroid, and now she uses her design from Metroid Dread. Byleth might be a controversial pick as my only Fire Emblem rep, but hear me out. First off, Fire Emblem Three Houses is the best-selling Fire Emblem game to date. And second off, Byleth represents the game's weapon triangle. Much like how Pokemon has the type triangle of Fire, Water, Grass, Fire Emblem has a weapons triangle of Sword, Axe, Lance, and Byleth represents all 3 of them. Shulk is next, representing Xenoblade. He's the protagonist of the very first game and has appeared in every numbered entry since, so he's probably the best rep for the series. Representing Pikmin is the captain from Pikmin 4. They would have a similar moveset to Olimar's old moveset, but now incorporating the new types of Pikmin and Ochi. You could also have Olimar as an alternate skin, with his dog Moth replacing Ochi. Newcomer to Smash is a Ring Fit trainee. Despite only having 1 game under its belt, Ring Fit has already sold out many other series such as Xenoblade or Pikmin, so I think it deserves a place on this roster. I debated on whether or not to cut Fox, but I ended up letting him return. Star Fox isn't the most popular series and hasn't gotten a game on Switch yet, but I don't think that necessarily means the series won't continue to get games in the future. The Mii Fighter is a wall of fun concept that don't do a great job at representing what Miis do in their home franchise, so I'm replacing them with the new Mii Sportsman. This new Mii would use various sports and perhaps some stuff from Tomodachi Life in their moveset. Also, while on the topic of Miis, it would be nice to have a couple of default Miis already made when you boot up the game so people can use them in competitive Smash. That's all I have for this video. Predictions isn't typically what I do on this channel, but if you enjoy learning about the lore of Nintendo games, consider subscribing. Stay hydrated, and I'll see you next time. Bye.